it felt like what's the point in going on? It felt like uh, like if I lose a person that I care about and that I love, then I'm not worthy anymore, and that you know that it's just not that I'm not enough. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Pupil's Life, episode 100, man. And episode 100 is gonna be a heavy one. It's gonna be a heavy one, dude. I partly because I watched Bo Burnham's new special, and partly because of some stuff that happened in my life. And we're gonna get into it, man. But if you're wondering why I'm not wearing a shirt, it's because of two reasons. I am not wearing a shirt just because I thought it would be a fun way to celebrate episode 100. Do my first shirtless episode, reminisce on the old prostitution days. And man, I haven't laughed in like 45 hours. And you just saw the first laugh in 45 hours, man. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing the podcast today. It's because the last couple days of my life have been very, very heavy. And like I said, man, we'll get into it. But if you're asking yourself why I'm not wearing a t-shirt, there's a second reason. And the second reason is precisely because the episode is going to be a heavy one, dude. It's going to be a heavy one. And I thought, it might not be so funny this time around. So it might be a little funny if I don't wear a t-shirt, talk about emotions and relationships. And at the same time, you can see one of my nipples. When I was in high school, my friends used to say I had pepperoni nipples. So, yep. Yeah, dude, I guess I'll just fucking get into it, and I might not, yeah, dude, I might fucking close my eyes this whole episode. I might just stare at the ground, dude, whatever I need. But, dude, I kind of messed up a little bit, and I messed up, and I eventually was able to recognize my mistake before it was too late and amend the situation. And so I feel like I learned a lot, and I think it might be useful for you guys listening to potentially learn from my experience. I've talked about this woman I'm seeing, who I guess I will have to ask her eventually if I can just fucking use her name so I don't have to just say this woman I'm seeing every time. But yeah, dude, I've been seeing her for about 2 months steady, and things have been escalating. Things have been getting more serious, and I have sort of, you know, I spent 2 fucking years, dude, thinking that like it was up to me when I find the next woman that I'm going to be in a relationship with. And that's just not how it works, man. That's just not how life works. You know, I found somebody, and initially I was just like, not sure about this, and then as you start to soften, as you start to see that it's okay to let yourself like somebody, and that it's okay to like somebody who isn't perfect. Um, then you start to realize, like, before you know it, you've already found the person and you didn't even realize it. And so for the last month or so, I've sort of, I had realized it, I would say, starting about a month and a half ago, month and a week ago. And so, yeah, we hadn't really we haven't said like, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, but it's pretty much that, it's just, we're both kind of a little bit like taking our time and just making sure that that's really what we want. Because people that say like that's just a label, that's bullshit, man. As soon as the label gets dropped, like as soon as you drop the fucking, as soon as you like, as soon as you put the label on the relationship, it for better or worse, man, it does change things. It does change things a little bit. Or else people would not be like, I don't have boyfriends or girlfriends. I am just fluid. It's because it does change things, and those people don't want to change those things. But anyway, man, this has been, I guess, I mean, I feel comfortable calling her like my partner. And she came over this weekend, which to you is like a week ago. But yeah, time doesn't really matter when you're listening to a podcast, unless you're my brother and you haven't already heard about what I'm talking about, which you have, so fucking irrelevant. Lovely. But yeah, so she came over on a weekend. We had fucking lovely day on Friday, lovely day on Saturday, and then we woke up on Sunday. We had sex, and maybe, less than 5 minutes after we finished having sex and we were cuddling and whatnot, she like grabs her phone and she says, "Oh, I've got 2 missed calls from my best friend." And I said, "Oh, which best friend?" And she told me the best friend. And I said, "Which best friend is that?" And she said, "Oh, that's the one, you remember I told you, the one that I slept with last year?" And I said, the one that you slept with. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? And that was a real question I asked myself. How did I forget? Because I did. How did somebody like me forget about that jealousy fuel? And, you know, I was upset, and she said, I'm gonna give him a call back right now. Is that all right?" And I was just in full fucking trauma mode. I was in full trauma mode, dude, and I was just like, "Sure, do whatever you want." She steps outside, gives him a phone call, doesn't pick up. She comes back inside, and then boom, detonation, dude. Detonation time, man. You know, you set the bomb, dude, and you walk away from it, and then you're like, why didn't it go off yet? And then you walk back in, dude, and it's detonation time. It's fucking detonation time. And yeah, so she walks back in. She notices that I feel a little bit off, and she asks me about it, and I tell her, I am upset that you got up and you went and called some other guy that you've slept with before right after you and I had sex and we were cuddling. Uh, and she said, "Oh no, like I totally see why that hurt you. I'm sorry. And can I give you more information about this person so that you can be a little bit more at ease? Because this is not anyone that you need to worry about at all. He is not a threat. He is just a friend." And, you know, all the movies that I watched growing up as a kid, man, caught up to me. Because what did I do? I recited a fucking line from Blue Valentine, dude, you know? Not verbatim, dude. I like paraphrased a line from Blue Valentine. Because she said, do you want me to give you a little bit more information so that you can feel a little bit more at ease, dude? And dude, there's a scene in Blue Valentine where Michelle Williams' character and Ryan Gosling go to the grocery store. He stays in the car. I don't know why. She gets into the grocery store, runs into the guy that impregnated her and who Ryan Gosling is now taking care of his daughter for. And she runs into him. I think his name is like Mike or something. And then she just is like kind of like excited or whatever. And then she goes back in the car and she waits to tell this Ryan Gosling character. And she says, "Dean, guess who I ran into at the grocery store?" And he says, Dean says, "Who?" And she says, "Mike." And he's like, "Mike who?" And she says, "Mike, whatever his last name is." And he's like, "Oh, you ran into fucking Mike, whatever? Why didn't you tell me that?" And she just gets like really like all of a sudden he's scared, because it's fucking detonation time for him. And she says, "Oh, it's like it's not a big deal. Like you'd feel better if you'd have seen him." And Ryan Gosling's like, "Why would I feel better if I had seen him? What does he have to do with what does what he looks like have anything to do with how I should feel? What does that mean?" He gets like super fucking just like trying to like catch her with her words and not really listen to her. And just because it's Gosling, man, and just it's like a funny scene in the movie, right? And so it just stuck with me. It just stuck with me, dude, as like I never got a model for how to resolve conflict. So this is a model. This is a model to resolve conflict. And I said that to her, dude. She said, "Do you want me to give you more information so that you can feel a little bit more at peace about him?" And I said, I don't need you to give me information about him to feel at peace, right? Instead of like, "Oh, you're trying to help me because you've noticed that I feel insecure." I was like, "I don't feel insecure. The fuck does that mean?" Right? I just got like detonation time, man. I just detonation time and I just fucking, the bomb wasn't going off and I was just fucking like pressing down on it. Like the dynamite, kind of like the old cartoon bombs. And fucking, that escalated into like a 24-hour like messy situation. So yeah, man, like I've told this story like 5 times already to different people over the last day or two. So I really don't want to get into the whole thing again, but I basically just tried to control the outcome by trying to control her and telling her, this guy can't be in your life because I feel threatened by him. And, that didn't work. That didn't work. And it got to the point where, we decided like, all right, maybe this is just an impasse. Maybe this is just going to be too hard for you to deal with. And maybe I just don't want to cut somebody out of my life for you. And we said like, all right, then cool. And we said goodbye, man. And then that night, dude, I just, I don't think I've ever felt worse in my life. It felt abysmal. it felt like, it just felt like, it felt like nobody loved me, man. It felt like nothing mattered. Um, it felt like what's the point in going on? You know, it felt like uh, like if I lose a person that I care about and that I love, then I'm not worthy anymore, and that, you know, that it's just not, that I'm not enough. Um, and and I called a friend of mine, man, and I told her, you know, as soon as I called her, man, I just started bawling my eyes out. And I reached out, you know, in the past I reached out to my mom and that didn't work. And this time I had someone else that I could reach out to, and I reached out to her, Amelia, my close friend Amelia. What would I do without her? And I just told her, man, like I can't do this anymore, you know, like like I can't go back to square one. I you know, like if life is just, if life is just about, you know, waiting for the next moment when you feel like the world is going to end, then I don't want that, you know. Don't I have the right to choose that? Don't I have the right to just not want to exist anymore? And and you know, like it's, I think for people who, you know, claim that they don't have thoughts like that, or people who are, um I don't know, dude, but I just feel like for some people, when you say that, it becomes a lot bigger than it always has to be, you know, because despite the fact that I was saying, like, I just want it to end, there was no part of me that was like legitimately thinking about offing myself. You know, like, what am I gonna run into traffic, dude? Am I gonna fucking grab my brother's Dole kitchen knives, and fucking cut open my arms, dude? And 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 just like, what am I gonna hang myself, dude, with a fucking extension cord? Like, it's just like none of those things feel real to me. You know, it's just about expressing an emotion, dude. It's just about, and I know there's probably a real difference between like people who are having like genuine suicidal thoughts and people who are like just like me, man, where it's just you're just trying to express yourself. Um, and and I think it's important, man, that I talk about that because you know, even if it's just a few people listening to this, like I feel so much shame about having those thoughts. And in the past, when I've expressed them to other people, even when I haven't expressed them, like I remember calling my mom after a breakup, you know, a few years ago, and her saying, like, I don't think that you're well. Like, do you think that maybe medication would help? And it's like so debilitating, man, to hear that, especially coming from your mom. It's like, give me a little more credit, you know? And I know it's because she cares about me and she's worried. Like, it's none of this is personal or like intentional or anything, but it's just like, there's the flip side, right? With my brother, dude. And I talked to my brother about it and I just realized, like, he is kind of the only person that I feel genuinely trusts me, um, and my ability to overcome difficult situations. Because I talked to him like that night. My friend Amelia, you know, she sent him a message and she said, you know, I'm worried about Nick. I don't think he should be alone. And my brother sent me a text, and he was like, "Are you still up?" You know, my brother gets. This is not funny, man, but it's kind of funny to me just because I love my brother and because I know what was going through his mind, man. But he gets a message from a friend of mine who he never has talked to in his life at midnight that she's worried about my well-being. And he just texts me, "Are you still are you, are you still awake?" And leaves it at that, because I fell asleep. I fell asleep before he sent that text. And when I woke up, man, I was just like, uh, it just was like, man, my brother's fucking the best, Um, and then when I talked to him today, the day that I'm recording this, and I told him, yeah, like I never like legitimately was like thinking I'm going to actually off myself. It was just about expressing my pain, dude. Like I felt so abysmal that in my mind it felt good to fantasize about just not existing anymore, and to fantasize about what that would feel like, and to be able to express to a friend who was there for me that this is how I feel right now. For better or worse, I'm not going to do it. I know that it's a scary thing to hear, but it's what I need to express. Because nothing else describes it. It's not like, oh, I feel like I just feel fucking, like I feel like I lost all my money, or I feel like I lost a family member. Like I just felt like, dude, I can't. I can't. And now I have sort of, we don't really know if psychedelic experiences are actually what dying feels like, but we think that maybe it is. And I've had experiences with ketamine. And when I'm on ketamine, man, and it starts, when the ketamine starts to enter your body, and they say that it's what it could feel like to die. It's just absolute peace, man. It's absolute fucking peace, and just, you're okay now. You're okay now. All your problems have gone away. Just relax. You're totally okay now. Hush now. Go to sleep. Um, so how the fuck is that not gonna, cross your mind when you just feel so excruciatingly sad and alone? Um, and when I told my brother this, he was like, "Yeah, like, I mean, I was like kind of worried because like you can never know, but I just feel like I know that you are capable, and like we have conversations about this, and so I just feel like you kind of know like how to get yourself out of it." And that is, what's the word, dude? Not irreplaceable, but like you can't find that. Like, if you find that, dude, you can't let go of that. Like, if you find somebody that believes in you like that, man, you gotta let that person know, and treat that person as one of the most special people in your life. And because it's just it empowers you, man. It empowers you when you're like thinking about doing these things, not actually doing them, but just like thinking about them. um you do feel like, fuck, man, I've reached this point of the game of life. I've reached the point where I'm trying to just quit the game, and I'm just like, you know what, dude, fuck Zelda. I can't find the fucking scrolls, and I'm sick and tired of trying to, dude. Just fuck this game. I'm just gonna feel so much better if I just say fuck this game, and I turn on another game, right? And I believe, dude, that when you die, another game of life begins. Doesn't necessarily mean you reincarnate into another sack of meat, but maybe you just go into the ether, dude, and you become consciousness, and you just start to travel through the waves of time and space. But yeah, you just feel like, man, I've got to this point. Wow, I am here. I'm at this corner of the world. I'm at this edge of existence, and only I can pick myself up. That doesn't mean that you can't ask for help, but help is not going to fix it for you. Help is going to point you in the right direction. And if it's the right kind of help, it's going to remind you that you can do it. And that's what my friends did, man. But the thing that only my brother was able to do, like, I talked to Amelia and she was like, you deserve better, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to my therapist and he was like, none of this is your fault. None of this is your fault. Feel the pain and feel all of this hurt, but don't feel guilty because none of this is your fault. And, I started to believe these things. Which were being told to me by people who only knew the information that I gave them, right? Which at the time was like, I feel hurt and I feel like I was wronged and I don't feel like this was my fault, right? Was not taking ownership. And then I talked to my brother, dude, and he just fucking set the record straight. I talked to my brother, and my brother and I just sort of have this same sort of school of thought. We both listened to the Mating Grounds podcast. And when we listened to it at the same time, it was like we upgraded into a new level of consciousness together. And since then, we've both been sort of navigating the world based on that period of transition and everything that we have learned up to this point. But everything we've learned up to this point, we've learned while being in the same city and almost most of that time living together. So we share a lot of the same ideas and we explore a lot of the same ideas together. So when I talked to him about the situation, man, it was almost like I knew that I was blind to the reality. And I knew that if I could talk to myself, like if I could talk to another me about what was happening, that I would be able to see what I was not able to see at that moment. And my brother just happens to be another me, He's a different human being, but, we just think about things in a lot of the same ways. And so when I told him, basically that I was trying to control somebody, dude, because I was afraid, in other words, right? Like, it's not okay that she's doing this and blah, 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 dude. He was like, well, listen, man, to me, it sounds a little bit weird, like what you're trying to do. And he said it so gently and I kind of knew that I needed to hear this. So it was not like, I wasn't resisting it anymore. But talking to him, one of my two fears when my partner and I said goodbye that night was, am I making a mistake by choosing to try and amend this with her? Because that means I'm afraid of being alone? Or am I making a mistake by choosing to suffer and be alone because I'm afraid to deal with this jealousy trip, which has affected all three of my past serious relationships? destroyed them basically. And so it was like, which one is it, you know? And talking to my brother just helped me realize, like, this is going to continue to happen. She is not the problem. You know, you're gonna meet someone else and they're gonna have another friend or an ex or whatever, and you're gonna feel jealous about it again. You know, with my ex-girlfriend, dude, I was jealous of her gay best friend. You know, figure that one out for me. So I think it's basically like, do I want to keep postponing this thing that I know I need to work on, um, because I'm afraid? Or do I want to, you know, just strap in, man, and do the best that I can? And talking to my brother, it was just clear, man. Like, no, I have serious feelings for this woman, and part of what was so hard about last night was just that I knew I wasn't seeing something, and it felt wrong for this to end. It didn't feel real. It felt like a mistake. And so I called her, man. I called her and I told her, you know, um, I wasn't being fair to you. You know, I was fucking. I lost sight of the truth, and I started to believe my own bullshit. I I can't control what you do, and I don't want to. I was only afraid, and there's a fucking bug, dude. Give me a second. Got it. Little fucking spider thing, dude. Um, yeah, dude. I was starting to buy into my own bullshit and trying to control you. And here is how I see what happened now. And here is where I made mistakes, and I'm sorry about those mistakes because I know they hurt you. And you know, if you're still willing to, because she was always like, I still want to be with you, I just don't want to cut this person out of my life. And I was like, that's just not a good enough answer. So she was like still willing, right? And I was like, if the offer is still on the table, um I I want to fucking work through this. um and you know, she was like, yeah, I mean, the fact that you shared how you see the events now, and that what you shared is what I felt like was actually happening, makes me feel more at peace, because I feel like we're on the same page. And I just don't want to, like, not do something that I want to do just because it makes you feel a certain way. And I said, amen. Um, um, and yeah, dude. So basically, fucking now I just have to put my money where my mouth is, dude. You know, I claim that I've been, and this is bullshit. I don't even want to finish that sentence. I was gonna say I claim that I've been doing work for the past 2 years, so now it's time to show it. It's like, no, I'm already showing it, dude. In the past, I would not have owned up to what I did the way that I did and apologized. And this is a pattern that I've been setting with her, is like, when I make mistakes, I own them. And that is new for me. That is new for me. So like, I already know that I'm doing the work, but now I've just found another area that only pops up when I'm in relationships, and that up to this point I've chosen to ignore. And it's time to stop ignoring it, you know? It's time to take off the fucking beer goggles and see what's right in front of me, man. Because this woman is incredible, you know, and that doesn't mean she's not flawed, and that doesn't mean she doesn't have her own work to do. But man, just hearing my brother talk about him and his girlfriend is like, you know, it's like you can't force somebody to do the work. And so you just have to decide, do you trust that they will eventually figure their shit out? Like, do you trust that they will figure it out at their own speed? If not, dude, then don't do it, you know? But if you do, then you have to sort of just respect that. You know, you have to understand that people don't attack problems the way that you do. You have to understand that some of the things that you think are solutions to your problems might be solutions to theirs, but might be fucking way harder for them to do. Right? Like I cut out my fucking best friend, dude, from my life because, you know, turns out he's like a terrible person, man. Like a really hurt person. He's not a terrible person. He's just a really hurt person who's completely choosing to just continue hurting people. And for me, that was easy, you know. But that doesn't mean that it's got to be easy for her. It doesn't mean that it's got to be easy for other people. Like, just because it was easy for me doesn't mean it's easy for them, and doesn't even mean that it's right for them, you know. Yeah, my brother was just basically saying like, you're kind of making this like relationship conditional. Like, I will only be with you if you do what I say. Um, and that must not feel good to her, you know. You got to think about how she feels when she hears that, not just about your insecurity, dude. Um, so I that's what I'm committing to, you know, is, and I've already been showing it with her, right? Because like in the beginning, she told me like, you are like really critical, and I feel like sometimes you think that you know how I feel or what I should do better than I do. And when she said that, I was like, fuck, man, that's spot on, dude. And I am so sorry that I've been doing that, and I'm going to change that. And for the most part, I have not even just changed that. I've now been sort of trying to lift her up instead of bring her down, you know. You know, she's got her own insecurities about her body and her personality, and some of those insecurities are some of my favorite parts about her. And you know, it's just it's so much. It feels so much better to just to highlight the positives in someone than to fucking just underline all the negatives. Um, so yeah, man, I've decided that I trust her. You know, I trust that she knows what's best for her, and that I don't need to control this outcome. You know, if worse comes to worse, like, did I make a mistake? No, I just chose to trust somebody. You know, if my fucking worst case scenario, which is so, you know, preposterous, even if that came true, it's like, yeah, dude, I would be in a world of hurt, a world of hurt. Um, but even if that came true, like, like what, you know, I decided to trust, and so that is a positive in and of itself, is that I changed. I was afraid of this thing happening, and I still said yes, dude. Um, So, so yeah, man, that's where it's at now. And, the thing that's reassuring to me is that I didn't immediately, when I said that, I didn't immediately feel regret of like, oh no, what have I done? And I also didn't feel this immediate relief of like, you know, this drug is back in my hands. I just felt sort of the weight of it. Like, okay, I've just made a promise to someone, and yeah, I do feel a little bit better because they still want to believe in me and they still want to trust in me and they still love me. But that doesn't just now absolve me of all of the stuff that just happened. It means this is now new information in the relationship that I have to take into consideration and that I have to, actively fucking work on, because there's going to come a moment where she might hang out with him or she might call him or text him. And when that moment comes and I hear in my head, this person is lying to you, this person is doing things and not telling you, this person, just end it, just get out of this so that you don't have to, you end it so that she can't. When I hear that, dude, I need to be prepared, and I need to be fucking, when those voices come knocking at my fucking window, I gotta have it boarded up, dude. And I've got to have a fucking shotty, dude. Just a 12 gauge shotty, bigger than Chris Wallace. Um, and I've got to have that fucking shotty just aimed at the window, dude. Um, and maybe that's not the best metaphor, right? Because I don't have to fight against my feelings, but you know what I mean, dude. Like, I can't just sit tight and wait and like, all right, when's it gonna come? All right, when's it gonna come? Oh, there it is, and expect that when it comes, I'm just gonna like be like, oh, that doesn't bother me anymore. Um, I've got to have some support in place, which I feel like I do. I've got to have some fucking, um, dude. I did this worksheet of automatic negative thoughts that my therapist sent me, and that's what happens, right? I get these automatic negative thoughts, and I've got to learn to, dude. I got to find this fucking thing. Gotta fucking find this thing. Um, and yeah, dude. There it is. Zoom. How do you zoom on Word doc? You identify the trigger, you identify the automatic negative thought that comes after the trigger, and then you figure out an adaptive thought. So I've got to have some fucking adaptive thoughts ready to go. And like an example of this, dude, and it was so funny because, it's trigger, automatic negative thought, and then you got to come up with an adaptive thought. Something that is like more realistic, that better serves you. Right. And so I was doing this exercise by myself, and I said, the trigger was that my partner, I saw her texting on her phone. And the automatic negative thought was, she's texting another guy that's better than me. This is a hopeless relationship because she's bound to find someone she likes more and leave me for them. Self-esteem, dude. And I couldn't come up with an adaptive thought for that, man. How sad is it that I felt paralyzed in, oh, she just is going to find somebody better than me. Um, And then I talked to my therapist, and he helped me find an adaptive thought. And he was like, you know, there's a lot of other people that could be trying to reach her. You know, she's got family, she's got friends, she's got, you know, coworkers. Did you ever think that maybe she was texting them, dude? Did you ever think that maybe this isn't about you? Oh. Oh. You know? And so, like, what could be a fucking, you know, let's say, dude, the fucking trigger now is like anytime this person's name comes up. Or anytime she sees him, anytime this person is involved in my life in any way, that's the trigger, dude. The automatic negative thought that I have is she is going to realize that she likes him as more than just a friend, and she is going to either leave me for him, or she's gonna, you know, get drunk and fuck him again. And that's just because I'm not good enough for her. So what's an adaptive thought, man? An adaptive thought, well, that could be she explored some feelings with him. She realized it was not what she wanted, but there is still a friendship there that she values. And when she decides to spend time with him, or when she brings him up, it has nothing to do with me. And it's just her seeing a friend. You know, I've got friends, dude. I like to see friends too. What's so wrong with that, you know? When I go see my friends, am I thinking all the things that I think she's going to do? No. So why am I, yeah, that could be an adaptive thought, man. You know, maybe shorten it a little bit, but. So anyway, dude, all this just fucking happened. And I decided to record the podcast because I needed to find some humor in the situation. And anyway, dude, I saw Bo Burnham's Inside, and boy, oh boy, was that a fucking treat. If you haven't watched it, dude, spoiler alert. Not really. There's not really any spoilers, but like, I'm just going to talk freely about it. That is one of the most creative and original things I've seen ever in my life. And yeah, man, it's one of those things that when I watched it, it sparked creative juices in me and was like, fuck, dude, I want to do something different and original like that. I want to make something fucking cool, dude, that makes other people feel. Not to say that I'm not already doing that, but it just sort of was like, like, let me think creatively. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's Bo Burnham. He makes funny music and comedy, and he fucking was locked in his home for like 18 months or some shit like that. And because of the pandemic, of course, and he decided he was going to make a new comedy special in his home all alone. And dude, the evolution that you see on screen is mesmerizing. Like, it's fucking just astounding what he was able to do. And when you're a creative, man, and you can put yourself in his state of mind, it just fucking, it freaked me out, dude. Like the amount of sort of headspace that making that special must have taken up is ridiculous. He's in one room, and every scene looks so different from the last. And, you know, the songs he was writing, he didn't really have like an audience reacting to them. So he was just sort of being like, I guess this is funny. I guess this is interesting. And he alludes and he directly talks about, suicide, dude. And you just see him, dude. You see him suffer, dude. And, it's like the way I felt last night, dude. It's like seeing that on screen, but just in the most just way, in the most fucking just like way. And yeah, man, like he's just the songs that he writes are so fucking catchy, dude, and so clever. And part of me thought he was gonna be like this fucking, like a politically correct little person now. And he's not, dude. It was so amazing. Like it's just yeah, dude, I don't know. Every time I talk about things I watched or things I read, I feel like I don't know what to say. But yeah, just the fact that he made this alone is enough to merit a fucking Oscar, dude. Not that it's gonna be considered because it's a fucking comedy special, right? But it's genius, man. It's fucking genius. And you kind of just have to watch it for yourself to understand what I'm talking about, right? It's kind of like psychedelics, dude. There's two kinds of people. There's the kind of people who have done them and the kind of people who haven't. There's the kind of people who have seen Bo Burnham's inside, and there's the kind of people who have not seen Bo Burnham's inside. And, funny story. My brother told me he told my sister to watch it. And she was like, "Oh yeah, it's just like songs, right? Like it's just like songs." I tried to watch 10 minutes of that, and it's just like songs, right? I'm like, "Oh, bless your heart, dear sister. Bless it, holy dude." Yeah, man, I don't want to keep doing this right now. I'm not quite a full person yet. But I needed a little pick me up, so I think I'm just gonna end it right now, man. And I haven't eaten anything all day. Barely ate anything yesterday. Haven't really drank much water, dude. So I've gotta take a little bit of care of myself right now. But yeah, so that's the podcast, dude. Thank you guys for being here, man. Thank you guys for listening. When I was at the bottom of the pits, dude, last night, and I was just hopeless, I did think, there's somebody that needs me to keep going, dude. There's someone out there going through what I'm going through right now, and they need me to overcome it so that I can share with them that they're not alone. And so, man, if you're feeling like I was feeling, if you're ever feeling down, man, you're not alone, dude. You're not alone. I've thought about it, dude. I've thought about it. But there's beauty on the other side of it if you can pull yourself out of it. And there's even more beauty in it if you can take ownership of the fact that you put yourself there. Nobody else put you there. Not your parents, not your partners, not your friends, not your boss. You put yourself there. And you have to get yourself out of there. So with that, thank you guys for listening to The Pupil's Life. I'll see you next week, man. Hopefully, and that's not a fucking allusion to like suicide. I'm just saying like, I think for the last couple of weeks, I've just been feeling like a little bit of pressure, dude, to continue putting these out weekly. And I think now that I've done 100 consecutive weeks, like I may give myself permission to take the fucking, put my feet on the brakes, put my foot on the brake. or I might not. Who knows? But thank you guys for listening. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. All right. Bye bye.